The most impactful experience I had with gratitude came about 6 years ago when my second husband and I learned that I was pregnant. He and I each had children from our first marriages, but this was to be our first child together. It was an unplanned pregnancy and I was 39 at the time, but we were over the moon with excitement. When we went to the doctors at our 20-week appointment, we learned from the ultrasound that our little boy was diagnosed with hypoplastic right heart syndrome, a heart condition that would be fatal without the proper treatment. Even though the doctors assured us that there was a high success rate of postnatal surgery, it was scary to think of the risk of losing our little boy. To make things worse, his due date was in the first part of January, which is my least favorite month of the year. With my history of depression and seasonal affective disorder, I was not just worried about my baby, I also worried about my mental health as I envisioned myself cramped in the hospital, visiting him in the NICU in the most inhospitable time of year. I remembered what I learned about gratitude before, so in November, as a preventative measure, I took to Facebook and hopped on the gratitude bandwagon. You've probably seen it. During the month of Thanksgiving, everyone publicly expresses gratitude for what they're thankful for. My feelings about public gratitude have changed since then, and I'll talk about that later. But at the time, I was grasping at straws. I needed accountability and support, and Facebook felt like a safe place to start developing an attitude of gratitude. So each day I posted about what I was thankful for that day. Everything from indoor plumbing to the heat in my home, to my family and friends, to the good doctors at Primary Children's Hospital who promised they'd take care of my baby. Then the unthinkable happened. On November 27th, the Monday after Thanksgiving, I couldn't feel my baby move inside me anymore. I called in a sub at work, and my husband took me to the hospital where we learned that at 35 weeks gestation, our little boy's heart, which we'd worried so much about, had stopped beating, and he was gone. As painful as it was to lose our baby before even getting to meet him, I remember sitting there in the hospital and thinking the same thought that had come daily for the previous 26 days. What are you grateful for today, Kate? And to my surprise, the response actually came pretty easily. I was grateful for the good doctors and nurses who took such good care of us. I was grateful for the family members who rushed to pick up our kids from school, who came to the hospital to mourn with us. I was grateful for medical insurance, for the understanding nature of my principal and team at the school where I worked. Grateful for that my husband and I had 24 hours with our stillborn baby boy to grieve and to say goodbye. And at the time, I was grateful for my belief in the plan of salvation, or the faith I had that I would see my little Enoch in the afterlife. I don't know what I believe about the afterlife at the moment, but I do feel peace, and I'm grateful for that now. After this experience, we went home and I continued to post my daily gratitude on Facebook for a full year as a way to cope with my grieving process. Losing my baby was incredibly painful. The expression of gratitude didn't take away or invalidate that pain, but gratitude certainly helped me through the grief in ways I couldn't imagine. Over time, I adopted the moniker Kate the Grateful, and I thought I'd use my experience with gratitude to help others. I've since learned a little more about public gratitude and how it's not always appropriate, which I'll share about in a future video. As I reflect on this experience and share it with you today, I want to take a moment to say how it helped prepare me for the grief that I'm going through right now. I have a lot to grieve this year as I've lost, through either the choices of others or choices of my own, my career, my future in public education, my faith in the church that I was raised in, my marriage, my home, and some relationships with people who don't understand or even want to understand the choices that I've made. Remember what I've learned from my experience losing my Enoch, and I'm applying it to my experience today. Rather than focus on the pain of my losses, which is certainly there, I'm choosing to focus on the goodness in my life, because it's certainly there too. At the risk of sounding too pretentious, I'll tell you that I'm grateful for my newfound freedom to choose a new career path, a new spiritual life, a future partner, which I hope will come my way once I've had time to heal. And I'm so thankful and grateful that I'm not in Seattle and that I get to stay here in Utah with my 16-year-old as they graduate. I'm grateful for the goodness of the friends and family who do offer me support through this major life transition, including all of you here on TikTok. Gratitude doesn't take my problems away. They're still there. But my focus on the good helps me get through these challenges with the attitude and tenacity that I need to survive. And that is why gratitude is and always will be the first of my core values.